Hi everybody, Jerry the Snake Man again, and just another day in the snake room taking care of the snakes. Today I'm taking out, I got to clean the cage here and feed my baby black and white spitting cobra, and she's a pretty awesome thing. She only spit at me once, but I still don't trust her 100%. But normally she likes to come right up and out. I usually don't have to do too much. She's pretty awesome. I like spitters. My other bigger guy, he's really aggressive. You can see here, she just usually comes up and out. There we go. And she is just a little sweetheart here. Now, wearing the gloves though, you make sure you never let the snake have more length than you do on the gauntlets here. I don't wear my shield like I probably should, but I wear glasses and a brimmed hat, so they're really not going to spit in my face. Now with the other one, I make sure that I don't look directly at her or let her look directly at my eyes, because she will definitely spit. She's super aggressive. This little baby here though is very docile. And I'm going to feed this one, so I'm going to take the time here. I'm not going to cut out the video. I'm just going to do a quick cleaning of the cage, which only takes a minute of time. I'm not going to have you watch me clean out all the cages. That's ridiculous. But right now, you can watch me do this one real quick. Again, I like to use rubbing alcohol. And I also do the water bowl with the rubbing alcohol. I like to use these sections of paper towels, the ones that break off into like half of a sheet, because I really don't need a full sheet, and I found I really do save myself quite a bit of money on paper towels by using this one that break off in sections and full sheets. I'll wipe the water bowl clean first, then I'll take that same paper towel and I'll wipe the bottom here of the enclosure. This way I don't waste an extra paper towel. And try to be a little cost conscious. When you got so many snakes, you have to look at how you can save money. And again, newspaper is free, so I save money on substrate on most cases. You go to the pet stores and they'll sell you spray water bottles, like $5-6 for a little bitty thing. You go over to Walmart and you get these nice big water bottles for like $2. So of course you see me over at Walmart picking up these water bottles instead. Most of the decorations I have come from my adoption and rescue program, where people give me used enclosures and decorations and everything when they bring an adoption snake. I just was contacted by a lady who wanted to bring me her son's snake. Her son didn't want to give it up. She contacted me that the snake has now died because of his lack of taking care of it, which is kind of annoying. But now she's going to be bringing me 4 enclosures and heating lights and everything else that she's going to donate to our rescue and adoption program, which is really cool that she's willing to do that. Now I'm going to grab the baby cobra over here, which of course is behind the camera, and again I just allow him to come right up. He'll come up and right out, which is exactly what he did. He just crawled right up and out, and we're going to let him crawl right back down into his thing, and then we're going to feed him. Now, if I'm correct, when I go to feed him, he's just going to grab that mouse right off the tongues, because cobras are usually pretty good eating snakes. Every once in a while you get one that's picky, but in general they're not a hard snake to feed. Once he realizes there's food there, oh, he bit it. I'm gonna set it down in there. Once he bites it, there's no sense in me at that point trying to get him to grab it again. He thinks that he's killing it, and now I'll just put him back up there and he'll go over and he'll eat it all by himself. Like I said, a lot of snakes don't like to watch them eat, because when a snake has their mouth full of food, that's when they're most vulnerable to something attacking them, because they really can't defend themselves. So they like to make sure there's not a lot of chaos going around them while they're trying to eat. Alright, here's my western albino, or should I say albino western diamondback rattlesnake. Usually takes a swipe at me every time I try to get him out of here. But again, I might be able to do this, I'm not sure. He's kind of coiled, semi-coiled. If he'll stay that way, and I can hook two of his coils here. Again, I can pick him up like I showed you in the other videos. If you can get two of their coils, you can generally get them up and they'll stay on the stick. If you can't get those two coils, then normally they're not going to stay on the stick. They're going to crawl off of it, and you're going to have to grab them by their tails to keep them from taking off on you. I'm not going to let you watch me clean this one. I'll bring you back when I go to feed him. Okay, now we're back to put the albino western diamondback back into his tank. And he's coiled up here, so hopefully I'll be able to do the same thing by a double coil. You hear him rattling now, so he's a little aggravated with me. But again, as you can see, hooking him with two of his coils makes him ride the stick. Now hopefully he'll go back down. There we go. Alright. And now we're going to try to feed him. What's kind of cool, again, you don't need to spend a ton of money on everything. I buy these plastic casserole dishes from the dollar store for $1. Drill a hole into them and they make great hides for the steaks. Now this guy here, though, he's a little annoying to me because he will only eat one prey item. I mean, he's not, obviously, you look at him, he's nice and fat, but he will not take two of anything. So I'm going to offer him his mouse. He will probably, if he will even bite it, a lot of times I just have to lay it down there for him. Right now I got to get his attention because he's not paying any attention here to his food. Way over on the other side here. Come on. Come on. There we go. Move to the other side. There. Let's see if he'll take the food. If he even recognizes it. He's too interested in escaping. But he's another one. Normally he'll just bite his food. He won't eat it in front of us. And right now he's not even paying any attention to the fact we have food for him. So what we're going to end up doing with him is we'll just lay this food item right by his door. And then he will go back later and he will definitely eat it. He's a good eater, but again, he'll only eat one food item at a time, which to me is annoying. I'd like to give him, a couple of them. But obviously, like I say, you can see his size. It's not hurting, and as far as his food intake goes, it's not affecting him that he'll only take one. These guys are really cool. One thing I do want to mention is if you guys are using top opening tanks, keep in mind that pit vipers' fangs do extend out of their mouth. They can bite you through the screen top. So you definitely want to make sure that you, if you put your hands up here, they're only on the edges where you're not on the screens, so that you don't end up getting bit. I've never got bit through a screen top, but I had a friend who was into selling venomous snakes, and he actually got bit quite a few times through the holes that were drilled in the side of his plastic tubs. So you got to be really careful where you put your hands around like pit vipers. And this is my baby retic. I'm just going to take him out here. He's under his hide. He's pretty cool. He's a normal. Very docile. He is still obviously very young, but very non-aggressive. Retics will generally, baby, this guy here will grow up extremely fast. He'll probably be 10 feet within a year, but they're very awesome snakes. They're a little bit of the clingy type of snakes. They like to wrap around you just so they feel secure. They're not looking really to hurt you or anything. But I really love these guys, and if you get them from a baby, you raise them up. They're very non-aggressive, very cool snakes, but they are very smart snakes too. They're considered to have, you know, a very good intelligence for a snake, kind of a thinking snake. If they are aggressive, you got to watch out, because they'll remember how you get into their enclosure. They'll remember how you pick them up. And you know, you really don't want to get bit by one of these as an adult. But very cool snakes. I love these guys. Unfortunately, in some states, these big guys are banned because of their size. But like I said, you can't keep them smaller. Jay from Prehistoric Pets says if you don't want a large snake like this, you don't have to have a large snake. You can give him one prey item the size of his body, which on this snake would be probably a full-size mouse right now, and give him one prey item, one every week for the rest of his life. You'll have a very healthy snake, but it will stay a whole lot smaller than what it possibly could be. And the next snake we have up today is one of my really cool snakes. I just love this guy. He's my Chinese king rat snake. He's got a very dry feel to him. I love that head pattern. I don't have to restrain him, by the way. I'm just doing this to show you this great head pattern. He's got like almost a large scales, king cobra type of look to him. He's very non-aggressive though. He's an awesome snake. He's very quick, but has never ever tried to bite me. And he's one of my favorite snakes. But he does like to hide. When I put him back in there, he'll just run. See right here, if I let him go, he'll just go right back into that hide every single time. So he's just really doesn't want to mess with me. He'd rather be left alone. But sorry, bud, you got to get cleaned out today. And here's two snakes, or I'll do one at a time. The other one's sitting over here, but they don't need to be cleaned or anything. They're just going to get a little food. These two snakes I got up for adoption. They were being clearanced out at my job because we weren't supposed to have them. So I picked them up very, very cheap, and I'm going to adopt them out. This is an albino California king snake. You can see he's a tough little guy there. He'll go to the bathroom on you. He'll shake his tail violently. He'll even strike at you sometimes. But basically he's going to grow out of that as he gets bigger. He's a pretty cool looking little guy though. I mean, if you like albinos. I'm not a huge fan of albinos. I like most of my snakes regular color. I think they're cooler that way. This is another one that I picked up again, just because they weren't supposed to have him. He's up for adoption as well. I don't know if you can see here, he's got a little tail waggling, but he's going to stop that. This is a Florida king snake, really cool snake. I like these guys. These Florida king snakes are the larger of the king snakes. California king snakes and stuff, they usually get around maybe 3, sometimes 4 feet generally. I mean, you can get them a lot bigger sometimes, but you know, we're going on an average here. But these guys will exceed that. They go 5, 6 feet plus sometimes. They're pretty cool. I do have a you'll see it later, not in this video, but you'll see it later in some of my videos. We do have a juvenile Florida king snake. And what's cool about king snakes is, I don't know if you guys know, but king snakes are actually like to eat the rattlesnakes. They're immune to their venom, so if they get bit by a rattlesnake, it's not going to kill this king snake. So rattlesnakes tend to want to take off away from these guys because they really have no defense against them. Listen to that tail rattling. And there's some really cool type of containers out there. I mean, this one, again, this was given to me by a friend when he brought me a snake he was giving up. See, this one got clips already on it. Really cool. I mean, this thing you don't have to do anything to. It's really secure. But what we got here today is a adoption corn snake, and something somebody brought in they didn't want. Beautiful snake, very docile. But yeah, she's up for adoption if anybody's looking for one. I like corn snakes. Again, I like the natural colors, and some of these natural colors are getting harder to find. We want to show you what this guy here is. If you look at the body shape on this, this guy definitely needs to get a lot more food. He's got more, you can kind of like see the shape of his spine. Instead of being more rounded, he's more triangular, which is not what you want the snake to look like. Unfortunately, that's how he was brought to me, so we're gonna feed him up, hopefully get him into a nice healthy round shape again. And but yeah, if you adopt him, just give him an extra mouse and stuff, and he'll fatten right up really quick. Like I said, he's very healthy and very active, as you can see. Alright, let's see what we got in here for you today. Again, most of my hides have holes drilled in them. So we can just lift them up with the hemostat. And there's my male. And that is, if you don't recognize him, that is a water moccasin or a cottonmouth. They usually stick pretty well. You don't have to hook 2 coils on these guys. Normally you just hook 1 coil and they'll usually stay right on there and ride it pretty good like that. And we got a Sonoran gopher snake here. There he is. See his little tail rattle in there? It means he's aggravated. Now he's not a biter though, so that really is kind of not of a threat from him. As you can see, I just pick him right up. Really cool though. I like the striping that he has here around his neck. I don't know if I can get him to strike at me. Probably not. He's usually not aggressive. No, you see, he's not aggressive. He's just a bluffer. But it's pretty cool. I like pitophyses, and that's a gopher snake or a pine snake or a bull snake. That's their Latin names. They're all kind of related there, and they're pretty cool, pretty awesome. And here we got the red-sided garter snake. chunky monkey here. I love you see the red, nice red coloration here. We got the yellow on the bottom, a nice yellow stripe. Goes all the way down the top here. Very cool looking snake. Garter snakes are probably one of the most underrated snakes that you have, people, because they're very common. Garter snakes obviously are all over the place. There are also snakes that are communal snakes. They hang out in groups a lot of times, so if you find one, you usually have a lot more. But they're really awesome snakes. Or snakes that if you don't want to have to feed mice and rats and rodents and stuff too, you don't have to. They'll eat earthworms, they'll eat fish. Really cool snakes. You can get them to eat pinky mice if you want to try to get them to eat mice. The other thing they'll eat too is I sometimes go to my local grocery store and my wife will get a nice fresh piece of fish, especially when they're babies, and I'll chop it up and put it in a bowl for them, and they'll go right over and they'll start munching down that fresh fish. So like I said, they're really cool snakes. They're very active. They usually, once they get to know you, they're not biters, but even if they do bite, they're pretty well harmless. And you can put them in like a vivarium and they'll crawl all over the place. So like I said, it's something you can watch. You don't have to necessarily hold them if you don't want to. They don't require, actually most of the time, you don't need to give them any type of heat source. They're fine with room temperature. They're just a great snake. They have a whole bunch of positive reasons to keep these guys. But again, a lot of people don't even think about them as their first snake, or even if you're an advanced keeper, because they're just a very common snake. And but I love them. I think they're great. Alright, and the last snake I have for you today is a water snake. Water snakes are usually pretty aggressive snakes, and this guy here, he's no exception. Now, I've seen a lot of videos with guys taking their snake sticks, their hooks like this, and they've been using the ends of the stick here to pin down the head. Now again, this is, I don't care, it's got a very soft handle, but this is still a very hard thing, which could damage the snake's head or neck. The handle was never designed to be used as a pinning device. A lot of people I've seen that pinned with the hook in, which has definitely not been designed as a pinning device, because it's very solid, rigid, and could possibly hurt the snake. But what they do sell is, this is actually a snake hook, as you see here, but it has a pinning end on the end of it, and the pinning end is a very soft tube that will allow you to pin the snake down, very flexible but very firm, so that you can pin the head down and not hurt the snake's neck. Now I'm not going to use this one on this snake because this one is a little bit small for him, and I've shown you this before, I think, in some of my other videos, but I've made pinning hooks. I've got a professional one as well that I bought from Midwest, but these work terrific. It's just a wooden dowel. The end here is simply the hook that you screw into a garage wall to hang your rakes and brooms and stuff on. And you go to a medical supply store and get surgical tubing and put it over it, and again, very flexible, won't hurt it, but very firm. So what I'm going to do is, as soon as I do this, if I don't get him the first time, he's going to be flying all over the place, so it'll be a little harder to pin his head down. So hopefully I'll get him the first time. If not, it's going to be, like I said, harder to pin him. The other thing is, being he's a water snake, you'll notice his eyes are located more toward the top of his head, so he sees me coming a lot of times. It's hard to tell if a snake is asleep or awake, because obviously they don't have eyelids, they can't blink. So what I usually watch for is body language. I usually watch, if he usually sees me, I'll notice his body will start breathing a little heavier. That'll give me an indication he knows I'm coming. So let's see how it goes here today. And that was a very easy, quick pin. He didn't see me coming. Oop, slipped out of my hand. That wasn't good. But we got another pin down. Very quick and easy. going a little wild on us, which is alright. Like I says, he definitely does not like to be handled, but if I handle him any other way, he will definitely bite me quite a few times. So we're just going to move him over into the holding container, and then we'll feed him.